My name is Jackie and I teach English with Take Lessons. In this lesson for beginners, you're going to learn all about basic English grammar. We'll discuss some of the most important grammar rules for using nouns, verbs, articles, and more. There will be a quiz at the end of this video to test your knowledge. So stay tuned and don't forget to click the link below to check out our free online English classes. Now we're going to talk about English grammar. First, let's talk about the parts of speech. There are 8 parts of speech: the noun, pronoun, verb, adjective, adverb, preposition, conjunction, and interjection. Nouns are people, places, and things. Common nouns are non-specific people, places, and things. Proper nouns are specific people, places, and things. Examples of proper nouns include people's names, cities, countries, the names of streets, the days of the week, and the months of the year. They are always spelled with a capital letter. Next, let's talk about pronouns. Pronouns replace nouns. There are 3 kinds of pronouns: personal pronouns, possessive pronouns, and demonstrative pronouns. Personal pronouns are I, you, he, she, it, we, and they. Possessive pronouns are mine, yours, his, hers, or theirs. Demonstrative pronouns are pronouns such as these, those, this, and that. Okay, let's talk about verbs. Verbs describe an action such as a physical action or a mental action, and a state of being. Verbs can be changed from the present tense to the past tense and the future tense. There are 2 types of verbs: regular verbs that follow a certain conjugation pattern, and irregular verbs that do not have a specific conjugation pattern. Let's look at the regular verb walk. In the present tense, walk is simply W-A-L-K. I walk to school every day. Now let's talk about it in the simple past. All we have to do to regular verbs is add an ed at the end of the base form of the verb. For instance, we spell walked, W-A-L-K-E-D. I walked to school yesterday. Now let's talk about it in the future tense. There are 2 forms of the future tense. The future tense is created by using going to before the verb, or will and then the verb. Going to walk and will walk. I am going to walk to school tomorrow, and I will walk to school tomorrow. Irregular verbs do not follow a certain conjugation pattern. In fact, you have to memorize the different forms of irregular verbs. Let's look at run. I run. To talk about run in the simple past, we have to memorize that this form is ran. I ran. Let's look at the verb say. He says. But to talk about it in the simple past, we have to remember that it's said. He said. Now let's talk about adjectives and adverbs. Adjectives and adverbs are modifying. Adjectives modify nouns and pronouns. They're usually descriptive. For example, the yellow cat. Yellow is the adjective and it describes what kind of cat. Adverbs modify or describe verbs, adjectives, and other adverbs. Now let's talk about prepositions. Prepositions are common words that when used in a prepositional phrase describe when and where. For example, I go to the farmer's market. I go to the farmer's market. The prepositional phrase is to the farmer's market. That explains where I go. Now, let's talk about using the prepositions for when. Let's use the same sentence as the previous example. I go to the farmer's market. I go to the farmer's market on Tuesday afternoons. The second prepositional phrase on Tuesday afternoon describes when I go to the farmer's market. Conjunctions join words, phrases, and clauses. Some conjunctions include and, or, but, and so. For example, we have two separate sentences. He rides his bike. He goes to the gym. We can combine those two sentences together by using any of those conjunctions that I previously mentioned. For example, I could say, he rides his bike and he goes to the gym. When I use and, I've combined both sentences and I'm talking about two actions that this person does. These are two separate phrases that we were able to combine together or conjoin with a conjunction. Now let's talk about interjections. They are 1, 2, or 3 words that you can put together that express emotion. For example, I could say, wow, to express surprise. I could say, oh no, to express disappointment. Or I could say, yay, to express happiness. The most basic English sentence structure contains a subject and a predicate. The subject includes a noun or a pronoun and any modifying words. The predicate includes the verb and any modifying words. Let's look at an example. He walks. He is the subject. Walks is the predicate. Let's add some words onto both the subject and the predicate. The little boy walks slowly to school. The little boy is the subject. Walks slowly to